Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel is Making with Marilyn. Now I released a video yesterday where I showed you how I made these tumblers. These are for my great nieces and I think they turned out adorable. In the video, I showed you things like how to measure your tumblers, how to trim down the paper, how to wrap your tumblers, and how to cook your tumblers. But what I didn't show you is how I designed these. In today's video, I'm going to get on Silhouette Studio Business Edition software and I'm going to show you how I design these. Now, if you have other design software, you can use that as well. The same concepts apply, but I will be using Silhouette Studio Business Edition software today. If you're interested in that, or you're interested in any of the designs that I show today, check out the video description and I'll have more information there. The first thing that I want to do is I want to show you where I got my images. I'm a member of Creative Fabrica. You can see up here that if you add a year to your current subscription, it's just $3.99 a month. They charge you once for $47. Now I do have a link to a free trial, so if you want to try it out, you can use that link to do so. And then if you decide you want to keep going, just pay this extra $47 and you're going to have access to these images for a year. Once that year ends, anything you've downloaded, that's become yours. You still have access to those. So let's look at the two files that I used to make my tumblers. This is one of the files that I used. It's already downloaded to my computer, but if you're starting from scratch, you would click on download, you'd add it to your computer, and then you can bring in the images from there. Now the second file that I used is this one right here. You can see there's a lot of different colors of polka dot paper. I've also downloaded it as well, and we'll use one of these today in this project. Also, I'm going to have links to these exact files in the video description, so if you really like them, you can find them there. Now, as I said earlier, I'm going to use Silhouette Studio Business Edition to make my designs. The first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that my canvas is the size of the paper that I will be printing. To do that, you can go right up here, click on this paper, and you can see right here, you can change your paper size. You can either slide this or you can just go in here. My paper is 8.5 wide. I click enter, and it's also 11 inches tall, and so I am set. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring in parts of those files and add it to my canvas. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Finder and I'm going to bring up downloads. You can see right here, this is the polka dot paper and this is the stick figures. Let me move that over and we're going to open the stick figures file. Now there's various formats, but I like to work with SVGs. If I ever decide to print this on my DTF printer, I would need to convert it to a PNG, but for now I'm going to go ahead and use the SVG file so that I can change colors of parts of the images. So I'm going to double click on that, and then for today let's just bring this little girl over and use her. I just drag it over here and it shows up. Let's go back to downloads. I'm going to go to the paper, and today I think I'll do pink. Let's just choose this one. Now, before I do much, you really need to know what size you're going to make your design. For the tumblers that I made, I printed mine at 10.6 by 4.3. So I want to bring in a template that size. I'm going to click here on the shapes and I want a rectangle, so I'll click right there. Now I can come over here and just draw a rectangle. This is locked, so I need to unlock that, and now I can change my width and height. So my width was 10.6 and my height was 4.3. Again, this is just going to be my template that I use to size my design. Let's move her out of the way a little bit. And the first thing I'll do is drag my polka dot pattern up over my rectangle, over my template. Now I want to use as many polka dots as I can, but I want to keep them round. I don't want them to turn oval. So I have to keep the proportions of this the same as they are now. Let's go ahead and select the polka dots. I'm going to lock the lock so the proportions stay the same. And then I'm just going to drag it so that it's a little bit larger than my rectangle. Also, this is the edge of my rectangle. Notice how close those dots are. And on this side, they're actually touching the line. With it selected, I'm going to use the arrow on my keyboard and I'm just going to tap right. I feel like it's more centered now. Also, on these horizontal lines, notice how far those polka dots are from the line and that one's on it. So let's go ahead and make that more centered. I'll move it up till I feel like it is. All right, I think that looks pretty good. What I need to do now is I need to select both the rectangle and the polka dots. And I'm going to go right up here to Object, Modify, and Intersect. And that just leaves the part of my design where the polka dots and that rectangle intersected, where they were the same. All right, let's go ahead and move this girl up. She's behind, so with her selected, I'm going to go up to Object, Arrange, and Bring to Front. Now I want to change some colors on here so that you see how to do that. With her selected, I'm going to go to Object and Ungroup. And with the other two figures that I did, that didn't do anything. I kept selecting it, going back to Object and Ungroup. Still nothing. Object, Ungroup. Keep going. Object, Ungroup. And finally, each item is its own thing. So I can move her hair pieces over. I can click on the individual petals. I can click on the shirt. And I might have ungrouped too many times. Maybe these blues would have been all together if I would have ungrouped one last time. I'm not sure, but I'm not worried about it. The first thing that I want to do is I want to change her hair color. So I'm going to click on this, hold the Shift key down, add this pigtail, add this pigtail. Then I'm going to go right over here to this paint palette, click open. What color should we change her hair? We could give her black hair. We could give her brown hair. If I want to change that to more reddish, I could drag this down, see how it changes. I could give her blonde hair. I could move this and give her kind of a reddish blonde hair. Let's go ahead and stick with that. Now, I feel like this much pink is going to compete with the polka dots. But I think if I change the blue, I think that would look good. So let's change the blue petals. And I'm selecting them by holding down the Shift and clicking on each one. Now that I have all of those selected, I can pick a pink over here. Oh, that's pretty. I could pick this pink. If I wanted the exact pink that you see here, with them still selected, I could go to the dropper tool and I could hover over this pink and click on it. Now, I think the pink I like best was this one. Now let's select the shirt. Let's change that a different color. Now, I really like this color. Let's try it. Ooh, that's bright and pretty. Let's go ahead and stay with that. Now, I like the yellow shorts to match the little yellow in the center, so I'm good with that. I think I'm done with her. All right, I want to put all this design together, so I'm going to go ahead and move the polka dots out of the way. I'll select everything on the little girl, and I'll go up to Object and Group. Now it's time to make her the right size. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to select her. Remember, we grouped her together. And I'm just going to drag this to make her the size I think she should be. And that looks pretty good. Now I want to add her name. Okay, we're going to pretend like this little girl's name is Marilyn. So I'll click right here on the text tool. And then I'm going to click over on the screen. In all caps, I'm going to type Marilyn. Now this is not the font that I want. So I'm going to go ahead and click off of it, back on it, and I'm going to go up here to Arial. Then I'm going to use the same font that I used on my other tumblers. And the name of that was Winter Christmas. I'll link to that in the video description as well. So I click on it. And then I want to make my text black. Notice those red lines around it. To get rid of those, you go up here to Panels, Line Style. The line style options pop up. I click on this right side here where it says Line Color, and then I go ahead and make it transparent. When I click on this, you're going to see those red lines go away. Okay, I think that looks good. All right, let's go ahead and drag this smaller, and let's put it right underneath our design. Let's make it a little bit smaller yet. We can make her a little bit smaller. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Let's move Marilyn up just a little bit. Now what I want to do is make sure it's all centered. So I'm going to select everything. I'll go up to Object, Align, and let's align the center. Now, even though technically the little girl is aligned over Marilyn, I don't like it. This is throwing it off. So it's technically aligned, but I want to click on Marilyn and move it over to the right. I'd rather it be centered kind of under her feet. And that's not perfectly centered under the feet, but it's where I like it. So I'm going to click on Marilyn, hold the Shift key down, click on the girl, and I'll go up here to Object and Group. All right, let's go ahead and select everything again. Now this time I'm going to go to Object, Align, and I'm going to align it both in the center from left to right and the center from top to bottom. All right, I think that looks good. So the last thing I need to do is say Object and group it all together. Now, if you are printing this to use for sublimation, you're going to mirror your design. Otherwise, the name Marilyn will be backwards when you put it on your tumbler. To do that, you go to Object, Mirror, and flip horizontal. Also, if I were to print this now, everything you see off to the sides would not print. So I'm going to go back to Object, Rotate, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. Doesn't matter if it's clockwise or counterclockwise. And then I need to make sure that the whole thing is on my paper. Now, whether you are using a tall, skinny tumbler or any other tumbler, these are the same concepts that you're going to use. Now, the little kids tumblers that I used in my video yesterday, they were on sale for Black Friday. Today, they're back up to regular price. So I found some other kids tumblers that are a little taller. They're not as short and squatty as what I used yesterday, but I'll go ahead and link to what I used yesterday, as well as some other kids tumblers that I found that are reasonably priced. Now, I haven't used those, but I see in the reviews on Amazon that they've really received good reviews. So if you're going to use these files to make tumblers, I hope this video has been helpful. If it has, please give me that thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, leave them in the comments section below. Also remember, I'm going to put links to a lot of different things down in the video description. Check that out. Once again, thanks so much for joining me, and until my next video, bye-bye.